Meet George Allen Rekers, a conservative Baptist minister, co-founder of the vehemently anti-gay group, the Family Research Council, and one of the nation's loudest proponents of the idea that homosexuality can be cured. Here's George Rekers, photographed by the Miami New Times at Miami's airport, returning from a 10-day European vacation with a much younger, quite hunky companion, who he met and hired through the website rentboy.com. Rentboy, in case you're unfamiliar with the term, is not like, man with a van will help with moving, or get tickets to Rent, the Broadway show. It's Rent Boy, as in when you log on, you have to click through to acknowledge you're okay with sexually explicit material, and then you essentially agree to pay for hunky male companionship. When the story broke in the Miami New Times, Mr. Rekers told the paper that he had hired this young man in question because, quote, "I had surgery and I can't lift luggage," which doesn't explain why in this New Times photo, as you can see, it is Mr. Rekers who is the one wrangling the cart, not his young consort. Mr. Rekers also told the paper that he used the trip to explain that the Christian faith is based in love and to show the rent boy how he too could be saved. Later, the young man who Mr. Rekers brought to Europe told the paper that he had spent part of each day on that trip giving Mr. Rekers massages. Very, very specific massages. You can look up the descriptions of them online yourself. There's no need to get into that here. I realize this story has been everywhere this week. There are a lot of things that are funny about it, and it is easy to have schadenfreude about a guy this ostentatiously hypocritical. I would like to add something, though, to our understanding of what's going on here after a week of coverage of this story. People being gay, people being closeted, people hiring sex workers, in themselves, those things are neither all that funny nor all that newsworthy. But when people have built their careers, their professions, on professions of their own sexual moral rectitude, David Vitter, John Ensign, when people have built their careers on trying to make life miserable and dangerous for gay people, while they themselves are secretly gay, Larry Craig, George Rekers, then congratulations, you've made the news. It's no longer just your private business. What hasn't been appreciated about the George Rekers rent boy case is just how miserable he has tried to make life for other gay people in this country, and the fact that he's still doing it. So here's George Rekers getting caught at the Miami airport on April 13th, okay? That's him in the blue shirt in the foreground. It's a picture he didn't want you to see. The George Rekers he does want you to see shows up here exactly 2 weeks earlier in this letter, dated March 31st. This letter was reportedly sent to every school superintendent in America, all 14,800 of them. The letter advises school districts, quote, "In dealing with adolescents experiencing same-sex attraction, it's essential to understand there is no scientific evidence that an individual is born gay or transgender. It is also critical to understand that these conditions can respond well to therapy." Right? If you have the gay, don't worry, it can be cured. Although doing so sometimes leaves a lingering backache, maybe? The "Hey Superintendent, any gay kids in your school district need to be told they can be cured" letter is from none other than George Rekers. See, he's listed here on the letter as a member of the Pediatric Psychosocial Development Committee of this group, the American College of Pediatricians. That sounds official, it sounds serious, right? It's not. They are just one of these wacky far-right cure the gays groups. They're hoping that you will mistake them. They are the American College of Pediatricians. They're hoping you'll mistake them for the real doctors group, the American Academy of Pediatrics. That's the real group. Again, the Cure the Gays letter from George Rekers' group goes out on March 31st to every school district in the country. George Rekers then shows up at Miami's airport 2 weeks later with the hot young guy he hired off of rentboy.com, having just returned from a 10-day rent boy vacation. It's as though he and his colleagues put the letter in the mail, deadline met, and then left for 2 weeks of much-needed vacation and massages. The reason George Rekers' pitiful, closeted, hypocritical life news is actual news is because he's quite actively engaged in trying to change this country to make it a more difficult place to be gay, particularly a more difficult place to be a young gay person, while he is simultaneously hiring at least one young gay person to not carry his baggage. In 2004, George Rekers was paid tens of thousands of dollars to testify as an expert witness for the state of Arkansas, supporting that state's ban on gay parents caring for foster kids. In 2008, George Rekers was again paid tens of thousands of taxpayer dollars to be an anti-gay expert witness, this time by the state of Florida, to defend Florida's ban on gay parents adopting. Florida is fighting for that ban with the help of esteemed experts like George Rekers. A court ruling on the constitutionality of that law is expected any day now. Here's the basic idea about cases like this, and Larry Craig, and Ted Haggard, and John Ensign, and David Vitter, and. The miserable denial and lying in your own sex lives is your own miserable, in denial, lying business. Unless you make it the whole country's business by crusading against the thing that is true about yourself that you hate so much. Being gay cannot be cured. Being a contemptible, pathetic hypocrite can be cured. Come out wherever you are.